Last Saturday, I was watching an LTT video on the Nintendo Switch and it got me thinking. It's been more than 5 years since Genshin Impact announced that Genshin Impact would be coming to the Nintendo Switch, and we've heard absolutely nothing about the game ever since then. And since the Nintendo Switch 1 is essentially dead in the water now, I'm interested in finding out if Genshin Impact can finally release on the Nintendo Switch 2, and not only Genshin Impact but also Wuthering Waves as well. So with that said, in this video we'll talk about whether or not it's possible for these games to come out on the Nintendo Switch, and I'll also try to speculate on when exactly they might actually release on the Nintendo Switch. So with that said, let's get into the video. So, to make sure that everyone is on the same page, let's talk about the specs of the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I want to make it clear that what I'm going to talk about right now is total speculation. Nothing has actually been confirmed. But the Nintendo Switch 2 is currently speculated to have about the same power as a PS4. And for some of you, that might not be impressive. But when you think about the fact that this is a handheld device, with not a lot of space and not a lot of room to cool down all of the components that are inside of it that are actually going to be running and doing all of the things to make your games look and perform fine, I think it's actually very, very impressive. Now, it would have been nicer if we could get something like a PS4 Pro, but since the rumors say that it's probably comparable to a PS4, I'm going to base off everything that I talk about in this video off a PS4. So, the question is, have any of these games actually released on the PS4? Yes, Genshin Impact actually released on the PS4. So how does performance on the PS4 actually look? Because this might give us some insight into how, if Genshin Impact actually launches on the Nintendo Switch 2, may perform. Now, since I personally don't have a PS4, nor do I have Genshin on my invisible PS4, I decided to go online and look at other people's reviews of Genshin Impact on the PS4. Now, I looked in a few places and a lot of people's opinions on the performance of Genshin Impact on the PS4 are actually quite divided. There are some people, which are fewer in number actually, that say that the performance on the PS4 is absolute trash. And then there's a larger group of people that say that the performance on the PS4 is fine. But within these two groups of people, there were two major things that I saw that kept on coming up from time to time. One is that loading times on the game are much longer on the PS4, and also that the quality of textures in the game, so basically the graphics in the game, are not as good as, say, the PC version of the game. But these things are not really that noticeable if you haven't actually played the PC version of the game. And I think that this is actually good news for people who want to see Genshin Impact on a handheld device like the Nintendo Switch. Because even though all of these people mentioned that from time to time they do get frame drops, especially when Sumeru and Fontaine came out, the game was still able to run fairly well. And if the Nintendo Switch 2 is actually able to output performance that is comparable to a PS4, then it will mean that every single person who tries to play Genshin Impact on the go with the Nintendo Switch 2 will have a fairly good experience. Yes, there might be stutters and there may be lags and there may be frame drops. Sometimes some things may not load as well as you would like, but it's better than not actually having anything. If you don't have space on your phone, you can just download it on your Nintendo Switch. If you don't have the money to shell out maybe $1,000, $500, $800 for a PC, you can just get the Nintendo Switch. If you don't have enough money to go for a laptop powerful enough to actually handle it, you can do that. Or if you have a PC that works, or you have a console that works, but you just want Wuthering Waves on the go, but you don't want it on your phone, then you can just go with the Nintendo Switch. I think that this is very, very good. But like I've already said, take it with a grain of salt, because I'm only basing this based off the speculation that this handheld console will be comparable to a PS4. If in the off chance that it's not as capable as a PS4, then you might not see this game actually come out for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, there is another scenario that can happen. Genshin Impact decides to rework the game from ground up, specifically just for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I have to be very honest, I don't even see this happening in any world. Like, no matter how I try to envision it in my head, I can never see it happening. But who knows? MiHoYo could surprise me and actually do something, but I don't see that happening. If anything, rather than trying to optimize the game to be compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2, I can just see them ignoring the Nintendo Switch 2 and continue doing what they did with the Nintendo Switch in the past, which is just essentially treat the announcement like as though it never happened, even though it's right there on their YouTube channels for some very odd reason. But hey, I'm not here to judge, I'm just here to make a video. Wuthering Waves is in a more complicated situation. So, the first thing that's already working against Wuthering Waves coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 is the fact that it was made on the Unreal Engine. Now, Genshin Impact was made on the Unity engine. And for those of you who don't know, the Unity engine, at least games that are made on the Unity engine, tend to not have as high of a requirement to actually run as games that came out on the Unreal Engine. But in this case, that works against Wuthering Waves, because if the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be comparable to a PS4, not even a PS4 Pro, a PS4, and PCs that probably were as strong as that were struggling to run the game at launch, I cannot see any world where it actually works for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I admittedly am making this comparison with the version 1.0 era of Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves in version 2.0 is a lot more optimized and can run a lot more smoothly on a lot more devices. So, with that in mind, there is a chance that maybe, just maybe by some chance, Wuthering Waves may be able to work on the Nintendo Switch. I would be utterly surprised if this happened, but you never know, anything could happen. And another thing that is currently working against Wuthering Waves is the fact that it launched on the PS5. Now, there could have been, in the early stages of development, plans to release it on the PS4, but even if that was the case, those plans had to have eventually gotten scrapped because maybe the PS4 could not handle Wuthering Waves, and because of that, that's why it only released on the PS5. Another reason why it also released on the PS5 is because the PS5 is the next generation. We'll soon be talking about the PlayStation 6, so I think it makes sense that we're not getting anything on the old console. So that honestly leads me to say that Wuthering Waves I reasonably cannot actually see coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. It would be nice to have Wuthering Waves on the Nintendo Switch 2, but the fact that it's made on the Unreal Engine and the fact that it's not even on the PS4 to begin with is seriously working against it in terms of it coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Like, if I absolutely want to cope and I decide to just say, what if there is a way? What if there's something we can do to make Wuthering Waves actually run on the Nintendo Switch 2? Then I would say maybe look at the mobile version of the game. Wuthering Waves currently can run on mobile phones, and yes, it may not be that good, but it is running on a mobile phone. So what if we take the port of the mobile version of the game and then just move it over to the Nintendo Switch? It could work, but why on earth would anyone do that? That's the question. Plus, we're optimizing for mobile phones, and this is not a mobile phone. Like, the Nintendo Switch 2 is not at all a mobile phone. So the logic of the two don't even work the same way. So it just does not make sense. I don't see it happening. So, final verdict of the video. Genshin Impact still has a chance to come to the Nintendo Switch 2, and maybe they'll finally be able to honor their word about bringing the game to the Nintendo Switch. But Wuthering Waves, I personally cannot see coming to the Nintendo Switch. But if you have any contrary opinions, please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Also for some challenge videos, guide videos, and lore videos on all of the games that I talk about. Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, Ananta, NTE, and a ton of other games. Also join the hideout on Discord, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.